For 2016 and lead us in the right way for the rest of the year. So, Alba, please.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. We are so happy to see you all in this brand new year, brand new pages that we are writing day by day through our actions and thoughts and words. So this topic, I love myself, actually it's an affirmation. I love myself, I'm open to life. And we said it again, I love myself, I'm open to life. And if we keep saying this and repeating this to us, it will sink in us. This is not a new topic. This is not the first time we are seeing this here at the SSB. There is a topic that is out there in the bookstores, everywhere, right? But as a human beings, it's always good for us, for all of us, to reread the lesson, to repeat the lesson. There are certain things that we already learned, that we master, but there are some others that are still like kind of iffy. We don't, how was that? And can you repeat it again? Because the whole point and the whole goal is to be happy, right? That's our main goal on planet Earth. At least we feel it that way. We want to be happy. So in order to be happy, the first love that we need to feel from somebody is toward us, towards the self. So basically what we're going to do tonight is to navigate through some concepts and ideas based on the Spiritist teachings, especially from the books of Joanna De Angelis, because she's our psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist, and social worker per excellence. We also will visit some ideas on some other authors, American authors. And we hope by the end of this brief talk, all of us, we can feel it inside ourselves. We can feel that love that is growing and that is expanding. So we finish the talk in a better position that we started, right? Okay. So we're going to start with this concept, huge concept about the love and the universe. And actually, we are going to use some sentences from Joanna De Angelis in the book, Open Your Heart and Find Happiness. What is this? This is a concept that we need to have as a foundation in order to build this building that is called self-love. And this concept is the idea that just Yasko read in Happy Life. And I wanted for you to keep the page, I couldn't tell you. When they say, we are all beloved children of God. We all are. Every single human being, every spirit. Good, bad, tall, less taller, all of us. And if he's our Father, or let us put our Creator, if he's the main intelligence of the universe, and if he's love, if he's pure love, so also we are. We are a little piece, tiny piece of love, of this love and universe. So we remember in the movie The Shift by Dr. Wayne Dyer, that we are going to watch a shortcut of that movie. He gave us an example to understand this concept. And it's very simple. He put the example of an apple pie. So I have an apple pie here. Who likes apple pie? You know, with ice cream and everything. Okay, let us say apple pie. It is an apple pie. I cut a piece and I give this piece to Maya. You go ahead, get your. And I'm asking you, what is that? What would you respond? Thank you. It's an apple pie. How do you know it's an apple pie? How do you know?
I tasted before.
Because good apples, and you saw me cut a little piece of apple pie from the apple pie. So it's not like a science here, right? So I know that this little piece, its origin is from this big piece, from this round cake called apple pie. So that's what I know. So we are little tiny pieces of apple pie in the universe. And God is our great apple pie. So we have in ourselves, then as a seed, it's there, it's dormant, the seed of love. So we have the capacity to love ourselves, to love others, to love God, to love nature. Right? So we are little apple pies. And Joanna de Angelis, she expressed it in more serious words. She said, there is no way to deny that love is the strongest reality in life. It irradiates from God and vitalizes the universe, supporting the laws of balance. So it's everywhere. It's this universal cosmic fluid. It's this gigantic pool of fluid that we don't see, we don't touch, but we are immersed in the universe and we are immersed in God. And we are no philosophers here. We're not going to try to understand the idea of God. But if we open our heart, like Joanna de Angelis is inviting us, we can feel it. We don't have human words to describe it, but we can feel it. And we feel it sometimes when we are in contact with nature. It's a little bit difficult when we are in a rush, rush hour, Baltimore City, sometimes like, oh God, where are you? But when we connect with nature, because nature is also creation from God, and we take a deep breath, and it's like, oh, this is awesome. And we are part of that awesomeness. So then the question is, okay, we are little pieces of apple pie. We are little pieces of love. How come it is so difficult to be happy and to love oneself? It is hard. It is hard. And sometimes we hurt ourselves in very bad ways. We are our worst critics. We are very judgmental with ourselves. When we look at the mirror, we don't look this beautiful, awesome lady, that's becoming to her 50s. And we say, Albita, you're getting old. How come we don't have a positive word to ourselves? It's not in all the time and it's not all the moments. We have our moments in which we feel proud of our accomplishments. But somehow it's like we're not living in a society in which we learn to love ourselves. We are in a society in which we are learning to be selfish. And I want this for me and I need this for me. But loving the true self, developing our really self, our potentials, our creativity, that's in the future. Well, there are some schools that they're doing that currently in Planet Air, but that is something that is not common. We have some roots there in which nobody's, I don't know, college students here, do you have a class that says self-love? No, Maya, Vanesina. What about high school students here? Middle school students? I'm going to my self-love class. It will come eventually. There are schools, college, universities, all levels of education in the spirit world, and one of the classes and the lessons is how to love yourself. Because when we learn how to love ourselves, how to kiss our little cheeks and say, I love you for who you are and I accept you the way you are, we are loving actually others. Because now we understand their struggles. Oh, it's so hard, that's right. We forgive easier because we know we made mistakes, right? So with Joanna, we're going to see an X-ray of what happened inside ourselves. What is holding us back to love ourselves? It's like we are, psychological speaking, we are like a little, like an octopus. We are trying to swim, but there we have like two tentacles here that they're saying, no, we don't want to go that way, and holding us back. We are going to see first, what is that? To love is the great challenge. To love ourselves, others, God, nature. And Joanna de Angelis, in her book, Existential Conflicts, you see, he's having trouble loving himself. Or herself, we don't know. And of course, we're not happy. Right? So Joanna de Angelis, in the book, Existential Conflicts, that, by the way, we recommend, highly recommend. She talks here, she describes here in a psychological manner at least about 15 existential conflicts of things that are holding us back. But there are two main conflicts or situations that really, they're sabotaging us, our progress. And one of them is called guilt, and the other one is called fear. So here are our friends, guilt and fear. Well, they're friends to be, because we live with them, so we need kind of accept them. We are going to deep a little bit more in what is guilt, or feeling guilty. But so far, Joanna is telling us we feel guilt, or we feel guilty, because it's the awakening of the conscience, and we are going to visit that concept in a minute. And fear is the mortifying installation of this awareness of guilt, can often induce fear as an unconscious level. So Kirsten de Mello, she has been talking about gratitude, the psychology of gratitude, and during this talk she has been describing how we have our conscious and a subconscious mind, and how the subconscious is like our mind is like this iceberg. The conscious part is the top of the iceberg, and the subconscious part is this immense mass under the sea that are zip files in which we don't have really access, but they're somehow coming to our conscious and mess up with us sometimes. So sometimes we have certain fears like, I don't know where is this coming from, and we cannot describe, okay? So Joanna says that because we are aware of this, we feel guilty, we develop fear. So these two friends to be, they are best friends, guilt and fear. They walk together, hand by hand. So let us see what happened with fear. And in the book and in this talk, we're not talking the fear that we use as a survival skill. You know, we need fear to survive. You know, when we were hanging in the trees and we were trying to survive in the jungle, fear was really a survival skill and still. Because if we don't feel fear, we run into the danger and voila, our life is over. So we need fear. We need it. You know, we're driving, a car just put in front of us suddenly, and we're like, that's fear. It's like, oh my God. So actually, the adrenaline and everything is like ready to react. We need that type of fear. You know, when we're going to cross the street and all the cars are moving, say, I'm not going to cross the street now. And I wait for the red light and then I cross the street. Because then I fear a car is going to hit me. That's natural. That's biological. That's part of the human body. We need it. The fear that especially parents feel with the children. You know, when they're toddlers learning to walk, and these kind of corners in the furniture, and we're like, oh, don't hit your head. That's fear, but it's a useful one. We're going to talk here about that, the one tentacle, remember we're little octopus, the tentacle that is holding us back to be happy and to love ourselves. This fear. So in words of Joanna de Angelis, she says, to the awakening of the conscious, mistakes made and crimes committed during the initial phase of the conquest of reason and discernment emerge from the deep archives of the self, reappearing in the personality with constraining imposition. Wow, what? Basically, we are millenarian spirits. We start our journey 65 billion ago, we don't know. And in that journey, we were simple and ignorant. And God gave us something beautiful that is called free will. And with our free will, we start making decisions. Some of our decisions, they were okay, they're bringing us to progress, are decisions that are aligned with God's laws. But some of the other decisions, they're not really good decisions. They are holding us back. They are creating depths. They are creating turmoil in our lives. And she said here, mistakes and crimes that we commit. Albeit, are you saying that I was a criminal? Well, under the eyes of God, yes. Sometimes in the human love, a criminal is not really a criminal in God's eyes. And we don't want to. For instance, being a criminal is when we mistreat our body, putting certain substances that we don't need to put in that body, because we're going to get sick, or we're going to create an addiction, or so we are actually killing cells in our body. So under the love of God, that's being criminal. But it's not for us to be alarmed and say, oh my goodness, what I am doing. No. It's for us to think and say, okay, I made some bad decision in the past. I am suffering the consequences of that past. And fear now that because of my previous reincarnations, and Joanna de Angelis described, this fear is coming from fear of being discovered. Like somebody's going to realize that I was the one who did this. That's the fear that we have inside of us. It's not for us to judge ourselves because we were ignorant. We didn't know better. It's not justifying our wrong actions, but we need to forgive ourselves also, because we are in a journey of evolution. So we need to understand that this is not like a final word. Oh, you failed. Yes, you failed. Sorry. You're not allowed to go to heaven or to the spiritual colony. No, it is a process. Everything in life. If we observe nature, there is evolution there. And there are some things that didn't work well, like the dinosaurs. So it is God feeling regret for putting dinosaurs on planet Earth, and then these huge beasts, they didn't work well, and they disappeared? No. We need to try, we commit errors, we recognize, and we keep moving. But somehow this fear is imposing in our subconscious, and it's holding us back and say, don't love yourself. Do you see how many mistakes you commit? So we need, and we're going to see how to quiet that voice. That is our own voice, saying, you see what you did? Ah, come on. And Joanna, she said there are 3 sources or 3 causes for fear, main causes. The first one is the unhappy behaviors from previous reincarnations. We already talked about it. Fear of being identified and discovered as the author of the damage done to others. Like a little child who took the lollipop from the store without telling the parent. And I hide it because I don't want for my parent to know. You know, that's how we feel. That kind of like, did you took the lollipop? No, I didn't. And we play innocent. And we put our, 4 years old, they know how to put the eyes. Very cute. I didn't. So in the eyes of God, we are the little children. We are, let us remember, we are evolving. So we are little children. And He is mom and dad. And He's not going to judge us and say, come on, Albita, you're 4 years old and you're hiding the lollipop there. No, He's going to understand by my age of evolution, by the age of my spirit, I don't know better, but I will. The second cause is educational attitudes at home. So the first one is talking about previous existences. The second one is talking about our current existence. Aggressive family relationships, disrespect for an infant's identity, horror stories, people's aggressive behavior. So our present life, the way we nurture, our parents nurture us, or the guardians or whoever adults were with us, is going to also to have a great impact about how I perceive myself and how I love myself. And one of the part that Joanna highlight is also about horror stories. How, especially nowadays, it seems like it is a joke, and we are going to play a joke to our kids in Easter Day, and actually they scare the kids with some type of prank. It really has a huge, it leaves an imprint in the mind of that child. So if it leaves an imprint in the mind of the child, it's leaving an imprint in our minds. So Joanna is not saying don't watch horror movies anymore. She's not saying that. But it would be nice for us to avoid it. Because whatever we watch, we read, whatever we eat to feed our mind, that is going to influence us. And then during the sleep time, we remember those horror movies, those horror stories. And because we did well previous incarnations, we have enemies, all of us, even Jesus. We have enemies. And they don't want us to progress and to move forward. So they kind of dress up as the character of this horror movie, and they scare us in dreams. And then it's when we have nightmares. So also let us keep in mind how are we feeding our minds, right? And the third cause is natural catastrophes. That is almost like a natural fear, but if we experience a natural catastrophe in previous existences, earthquake or something like that, is very strong experience and is still imprinted there in our subconscious mind. So finally, she says, fears torment life, and without appropriate guidance, they create the very unpleasant phenomena that we try to avoid. Meaning, if I am afraid of, we're trying to think in some illogical fear. Because we have like a real fear. So people who they don't like spiders, that's okay. The spider is there, I don't like it, bye-bye. So it's logical fear, but these illogical fears. For instance, we are performing well in our job. We are doing well, nothing is happening, they're not cutting people, anything, but I fear that I'm going to lose my job. And there's no any reason for that. So if I'm fear I'm going to lose my job, I'm not working at my 100%. I'm not putting my creativity, my intelligence in that job. I'm always thinking, I am doing right. If I say this, it is correct. Should I greet my boss or not? Should I bring him a Christmas gift or not? So we start with that chain of thoughts that are going to sabotage us. We're going to stop here the fear part. And we are going to see his or her friend, I don't know, its friend, guilt. And after that, we're going to see what can we do, to take this friend out of our lives or to dissipate their action. So here's guilt. That's how I feel, spiritually speaking, psychologically speaking, right? Like the little puppy, I didn't want to do it, but I did it. So Joanna, in the same book, Existential Conflicts, and actually we're talking about chapters 5 and 6 in case you want to, 4 and 6, in case you want to go to the books, because it's a lot, it's awesome, it's a really good book. She said, guilt is the result of the rage that somebody feels against himself or herself, turned inside as a sensation of something that was done erroneously. Basically, we are really mad at us. We are really disappointed with us. We are mad. But instead of feeling, the energy of being mad, we're like the puppy, feeling guilty, right? And this is connected with remorse. She says, slowly, remorse allowed the mistake to be identified, but it did not come together with the courage to repair it. Instead, it transferred the conflict in the form of guilt to the archive of the spirit. Meaning, if we made a mistake and we recognize in the conscious life, we made a mistake and we recognize that we made a mistake, and we feel guilty or we feel remorse, the best medicine to counterbalance that emotion that we have and also to do good is to try to repair it as soon as possible. I was talking with my sister, we got into a discussion, I told her certain things that when I hung out I was like, I hurt her. So if I recognize that, let us try to have the courage, she said, to have the courage. And I would call my sister again. I said, you know what, it could be 24, 48 hours after, 72 hours after, 1 month, 1 year, but let's do it. The less steps we have left, the better we move in this step of the evolution. And we call and we say, you know what, I'm sorry, I did say whatever we use. So it's a one thing less in our guilt area. So because we don't have in the past the courage to fix the situation, that's why now we're coming back in different reincarnations. And it's very likely, like in our present reincarnation, we are trying to fix situations that we messed up 400 years ago, to give an example. Because before of that time, we weren't ready. We weren't really ready to say, I'm sorry, or let me fix, or let me repair the situations. So let us not think that currently we are fixing or repairing situations that happened the previous life. It could be, or it could not be. It depends. Because God, remember, is a loving father and mother, so he's not going to give us a task and say, hey, Albita, you're ready. Okay, you're ready to work with your sister. And by the way, I love my sister. It's just an example. Okay. So since I'm ready, we born as sisters, and we shared our childhood, etc., to strengthen our relationship because we were enemies in so many lifetimes. It's not like he say, Albita, you know what? You mess up with your sister, so next reincarnation you're going to try to fix that relationship. I'm not ready because I still don't love her. It's my enemy. So I need to learn and to mature as a spirit. And once I am ready, then is when the task of repairing the mistake is given to us. Not before. We are not set for failing. So if we are not set for failing, it means that we have the capacity of be happy and love ourselves. So there's also some psychological causes for guilt. One comes from the dark shade of the past, of the conscience that feels responsible for damages caused to somebody else. Again, previous lives, previous existences. We hurt somebody or a lot of people, we don't know. So this is coming from that, because we recognize and we say, like Saul, and then he became Paul. So when he was Saul, he was persecuting Christians. And he was the master in command, creating systematic persecution to Christians. Systematic persecution to Christians. Killing them. He didn't kill anybody directly, but he was the one who had the idea. So just imagine how he may feel when he recognized his errors. But he didn't stay in fear or feeling guilty and say, I'm sorry and I cannot do anything this lifetime. Oh my God, how many Christians I killed with my idea. Instead of that, when he became Paul, after he has the encounter with Jesus, he transformed himself. He spent a couple of years in the desert, meditating, healing, forgiving himself, keeping in contact with God, and trying to feel, then what is my mission in this life? Instead of destroying what I'm supposed to do. And thanks to Paul, it's like nowadays we still know the Gospels and we have the message of Jesus until now. Right? So yes, that's right. We commit errors, but also we have the chance to fix it. So, and the second psychological cause for guilt has its origin in childhood, again, as a consequence of the education received. So as you see, there are previous life, previous existences, and our current life, our childhood is so important. And if we have questions about it, we can ask Paula. I'm just kidding. But yes, it is. Childhood is a very important phase in our lives. Only humans beings, from the perspective of organic being, we are the only ones who have such a long period of time being in the childhood phase. Animals, you know, a horse, the little horse, the very day that the horse born, he needs to stand up in his 4 weak legs and run. A child, it takes at least 2 years. Because we need that period of time to rewind. I need a technological term here, Daniel. To reset our pattern of thoughts, to learn to be nurtured with love. So that is why it's so important, childhood. So finally, she says, guilt humiliates and disarticulates the mechanisms of brotherhood, making the person lonely and sad, not to say desperate, unhappy, and without motivation. In other words, with guilt and fear, we are miserable, right? It's like, oh boy. Now what are we going to do? We need to do something. How am I going to love myself? How am I going to move forward? How am I going to dissipate the action of fear and guilt? Dr. Wayne Dyer, he comes with this powerful affirmations. He said, "We are not our bodies, our possessions, or our careers. Who we are is divine love, and that is infinite." It's not powerful. So now we're going to move to the part in which, what can I do? What can we do? We already know that we have these two friends to be that are messing up our lives. I need to have the courage to confront them and do something, but how? Because, if I need a diet and exercise because I have an illness, it's kind of concrete, and I need medicine, so I see the medicine, I take. But we're talking about mind, we're talking about emotions, we are talking about something that is not tangible, but is really impacting our lives. What are we going to do? Are you ready to see? Okay. Are you ready or not? Okay. Okay. Loving the self. We are going to love ourselves. So Joanna, she always gave us the description of the illness, but she always gave us the remedy. She's a great therapist. She said the great therapy for all types of fear is love. Love of yourself, of your neighbor, and of God. Love is the effective antidote in overcoming fear and ensuring its consequent elimination. So actually, when we have love, the opposite emotion of love is no hatred. The opposite emotion is fear. Fear is contrary to love. So if we are in a fearful state, we are in an unloving state. Interesting, right? Okay, so we already know, okay, love. Love is the best therapy. Love myself is an antidote. Let's see what else. Love of oneself in a respectful and rational manner considers the usefulness of existence and what life expects from each of us, since we are usually only consider what life gives to us. So meaning here, okay, Albita, love. We got it. We are love. We are this little piece of apple. It means I am love. I can develop this love for myself. But it seems like we're not having the right attitude, because normally we kind of emotionally or psychologically see it and we say, life, give me. Oh, abundance of life, come to me. And actually the attitude is, oh, abundance of life, what can I give to you? How can I serve you? What can I do for you? How can I help there? How can I contribute over there? How can I make the life in my workplace better? Instead of, you see, these people is always complaining. So it's a change of attitude. We already have the elements inside of ourselves. It's the attitude that we have in front of life and in front of the situation. Of course, it's very, and especially if you practice yoga or some sort of this meditation, it's so nice to stand up and say, life, give me from your abundance. That's positive. But also let us practice the other part. What can I give to life? And then is when we feel that love and we start healing and eliminating that guilt and fear. So for fear, love is the antidote. The antidote to guilt is forgiveness. This forgiveness can be addressed to oneself, to the victim, to the community, or to nature. Peace and guilt cannot be together. It is necessary to the individual to understand his own weaknesses so that he can free himself from that painful programming. So we have a program because we have repeating these patterns of actions and thoughts for so many years, centuries maybe, that we need reset, that's the word, right? That we need to reset our mind, our emotions. So the antidote for fear is love. The antidote for guilt is forgiveness. That is another form of love. So we can do exercises to forgive ourselves. One of them is meditation. Because when we meditate, we enter in contact with our true self. And initially, to start meditating is hard because we don't listen to anything and we kind of see a lot of images in our minds. But the more we practice, the better we can start listening to ourselves and forgiving ourselves and say, you know what? And actually, Louise Hay, she has this suggestion like we need to talk to each one of us in front of the mirror and say, Albita, I forgive you. The next day when I'm going to brush my teeth, I repeat the same. Albita, whatever nickname you have. With love, with tenderness. Just imagine that the person in the mirror is a beloved one. Somebody that is dear to your heart. And just say with emotion, I forgive you. You didn't know better, my dear. That's what happened, right? And we are freeing ourselves. This is not happen overnight. That's why we reincarnate. But we need to start at some point, right? Why not tonight? Or when we are in our car, we sit to the mirror and, Albita, I love you. Let us go home, right? I'm excited I'm going to be with you. Yay! I'm going to enjoy life with you. It's awesome to have this body, and healthy body. Sometimes get ill, but it's part of the being on planet Earth. And I love the color of your hair and your eyes. Oh, so profound. We need to fall in love with ourselves. We're talking about this respectful, balanced love. We're not talking about vanity. That's something different. But that respectful love. And when we catch ourselves saying, you see, look your gray hair, kind of complaining, we immediately correct and you say, you know why I accept you. It's okay. And you can dye your hair. It's okay. She said the courage to ask for forgiveness and the capacity to forgive are two therapeutic mechanisms that release us from guilt. So actually, forgiveness and to forgive is a therapy because we liberate ourselves. Like, I don't know if any of you have had the experience, but sometimes in life, we don't get well along with family members, right? That's natural. So we decide not to talk with the person anymore, or to kind of take distance to avoid conflicts. And then after a couple of years or several years, there is a reencounter. We are different, we mature, and we feel like we are ready to talk with the person and forgive the person, or the person is asking us to forgive her or him. And when this happens, it's like, wow, I didn't know I was carrying this huge stone rock in my mind, in my emotions. Finally, she said, look for the way to correct the mistake by helping the one who was offended. If guilt is in the unconscious, coming from previous existences, change your attitude towards life and relationships. Meaning, let us be open. And if we cannot fix the situation right away in this lifetime, we can keep serving, helping others. The more we give ourselves to our family, our community, our workplace, wherever we have relationships, the more also we receive the love, and also we are liberating ourselves from that fear of being discovered, or from that guilt of, I made a mistake. Here is Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he says the real purpose of life is to be happy. We're going to watch a really short excerpt or fragment for the movie The Shift, in which he talks about to be happy and how to love ourselves. So let me put this in pause. Thank you. Why is this?
You came up here to write your latest book. Can you tell us a little bit about what you came up to write about?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. One of the things that has intrigued me over the years is so many people coming up when I talk about purpose and finding meaning in their life is what is my purpose? How do I find it? It always seems to be eluding me. I can't seem to get there. I've always felt that the real purpose of life is just to be happy, to enjoy your life, to get to a place where you're not always trying to get someplace else. So many people spend their lives striving, trying to be someplace that they're not. They never get to arrive. One of the ways to understand about how to find your purpose in your life is to return to nature, to find your own nature. I wrote a book a few years back called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, which was based upon the ancient teachings of Lao Tzu in a book called the Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu reminds us that all being originates in non-being. Jesus put it this way in the New Testament, it's the spirit that gives life. That you didn't really come from your parents. You really, all of us came from this place called spirit. And when you showed up here in this world, you showed up here from a tiny little drop of human protoplasm, a speck, if you will, and everything that was in that little speck that became you, everything that you needed was in that tiny little speck. One of the most important metaphors that I ever use is that the first 9 months of your life, from the moment of your conception until the moment of your birth, everything was being handled for you. There was nothing for you to do. You don't get consumed with the color your eyes are going to be or what your body is going to look like. It's all taken care of for you. You just surrender. I call it a future pull. And it's pulling you in the direction of whatever it is that you were supposed to be. And to me, it's not too great a stretch to say if everything you needed for the physical journey was already handled in there, then why not everything for the rest of the journey as well? All of your purpose, it's in there. All of what your personality, it's in there. Everything that you were to be, not just the physical you, but everything, if you just let go and allow. And so we're born. And we look at this beautiful little creature. As parents, I have 8 children. I've seen it happen many times. And you look at this beautiful little child and you look at it and you say, great work, God. Great work. Couldn't be any better. We'll take over from here.
Right. So we have everything that we need for our physical life, for our journey, he expressed, because living on planet Earth and having this current life is only one phase, one step of our journey. We already traveled so many other planets, less evolved planets, the planet Earth. We already travel in the universe. So there is a journey in which we are like the little seed of the oak. You know, these huge, wonderful trees. If we see the seed that is not really big, how are we going to know this is going to be a huge, magnificent tree? But it is. Everything is contained in the seed. It needs to be developed. We need to nurture the seed and plant it in good ground and water and the light and etc. So that is this little piece of apple pie, this little piece of love. We have inside ourselves the love that is necessary to love ourselves and to love others. We have the strength to forgive ourselves and to forget others. We have those resources within ourselves. It's a matter of having the courage to recognize that we are such a lovable people. We make mistakes. It is a journey. We are not perfect, and we won't be until one day we get to a certain level of evolution, and we move to another planet, and then to another, and to another, and to another. It's infinite. Love is infinite. So as you see, the therapies that Joanna is proposing for fear is love. How can we love? Love? The gospel and all the doctrine here, Spiritist doctrine is saying love, charity is love in action. So any good that we can do for others is also loving ourselves. What is the antidote for guilt? Forgiveness. How can we forgive ourselves? By repeating to ourselves that we forgive ourselves, and also by going out ourselves and helping others, so we forget about, we forget about the problem. And we continue all together in this journey. Louise Hay, in the book You Can Heal Your Life, she also provides another tool for us to free ourselves of fear and guilt, and to be happy and to love ourselves. And it's affirmation. It's not only here, it's a lot of authors, and we here in the center, we also believe in affirmations, because it's reprogramming our minds. Our mind is spiritual. Our mind is in the spirit. Our mind is not the brain. It's the spirit, and we need to reprogram the spirit. So she says something like, I am willing to change. Sometimes we say, yes, I want to forgive. Yes, I want. But really inside, it's like, no, thank you, I'm very comfortable here. So we need to say, I am willing to change. I am willing to release all resistance. And we can pick any affirmation. We pick these two. She says also that we can touch our throat, and we say, I am willing to change. And we need to repeat it to ourselves at least 10 times. Just say, we sit, we breathe. We say, I am willing to change. Because in our throat here, in this point of energy, it feels how deep we are feeling that affirmation. So it's like a sensory. If I say plain, I am willing to change. It doesn't be right. Just try. Let us try. We're going to do a little mess here. We're going to say, I am willing to change. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I am willing to change. Did you feel the vibration? So if we say it deeply, it vibrates more. So it's for us to know. That's the only reason that we touch our throat. So we are going to conclude this topic that has a lot of layers. I love myself and open to life. And we're going to start already loving ourselves, to start already being open to life, to forgive ourselves. We're going to do a very short meditation that is the voices by Deepak Chopra, and it's about loving the self. It is like 2 minutes. We can find it in YouTube, or we can find so many meditations and guided meditations in YouTube. There are even meditations of 46 minutes. I don't know if I can do it, but we can do 2 minutes, right? Okay, so let us take a comfortable position. Let us not sleep, because this meditation is being conscious, aware of what we are doing, and it's only 2 minutes.
Please close your eyes. Bring your awareness to your breathing. Just be aware of it. Do not manipulate your breathing. Allow your mind to settle into your breath. Bring your awareness into your heart and mentally repeat to yourself, I love myself just as I am. I love myself just as I am. I love myself just as I am. Now mentally repeat that to yourself a few times. And now mentally, thank you God for making me just as I am. Thank you God for making me just as I am. Mentally. Anytime you feel self-doubt, repeat those two affirmations. I love myself just as I am. Thank you, God, for making me just as I am. And slowly open your eyes.
So it was very short and sweet. 2 minutes of repeating, I love myself just as I am. Thank you, God, for creating me just as I am. It's all what it takes. And we can repeat it so many times through the day. So we reprogram our thoughts, our mind. Let us remember that Jesus is our loving older brother, always willing to assist us, to help us. So we can also, if we cannot repeat things in our mind and we have a struggle repeating, just by evoking his image, we connect with this great love, and it also works as a therapy. So by saying this, we thank you, and that's it pretty much. I think we run out of time for questions. So since we are already in this kind environment, let us move to the passage session. Are we going to do like a one by one person, or are we going to do like a, okay. So while we're waiting to be called to the passage, let us speak one of the so many affirmations that we had tonight. I love myself, I'm open to life, and let us repeat and repeat to ourselves, because this is a truly therapeutic moment. Okay? Thank you.